Hello, everybody. Welcome to a daily dose of the Bible. Just one chapter, one day, um, and one woman's perspective on it. We're reading Genesis, and we have gotten to Genesis 39 today. This chapter is going to pick up on Joseph's story, what happened after he got sold into slavery. So, first part is Joseph in Potiphar's house. When Joseph was taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Potiphar was the guard of the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. The Lord was with Joseph, so he succeeded in everything he did as he served in the home of the Egyptian master. Potiphar noticed this and realized that the Lord was with Joseph, giving him success in everything he did. This pleased Potiphar, so he soon made Joseph his personal attendant. He put him in charge of his entire household and everything he owned. From the day Joseph was put in charge of his master's household and property, the Lord began to bless Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. All his household affairs ran smoothly, and his crops and livestock flourished. So Potiphar gave Joseph complete administrative responsibility over everything he owned. With Joseph there, he didn't need to worry about a thing, except what kind of food to eat. Joseph was a very handsome and well-built young man, and Potiphar's wife soon began to look at him lustfully. "Come and sleep with me," she demanded. But Joseph refused. "Look," he told her, "my master trusts me with everything in his entire household. No one here has more authority than I do. He held back nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such a wicked thing? It would be a great sin against God." She kept putting pressure on Joseph day after day, but he refused to sleep with her, and he kept out of her way as much as possible. One day, however, no one else was around when he went to do his work. She came and grabbed him by his cloak, demanding, "Come sleep with me." Joseph tore away, but left his cloak in her hand as he ran from the house. When she saw that she was holding his cloak and he had fled, she called out to her servants, and some men came running. "Look," she said, "my husband has brought this Hebrew slave here to make fools of us. He came into my room to rape me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream, he ran outside and got away, but he left his cloak behind with me." She kept the cloak with her until her husband came home. Then she told him her story. "That Hebrew slave you brought into our house tried to come and fool around with me," she said, "but I screamed, and he ran outside, leaving his cloak with me." Dirty, mean trickster. That's sad. Those are the kinds of things, Joseph's all in for God. He's working this Egyptian household the way the Lord's telling him to, and the Lord's blessing it because he's there. But that means that there's going to be, Satan's got some big plot somewhere, and he gets a hold of the lady of the house, and she thinks Joseph's pretty hot, and he is too morally sound to make such a decision. So that is a horrible thing that happened. She has framed him for attempted rape. Joseph put in prison. Potiphar was furious when he heard his wife's story about how Joseph had treated her, so he took Joseph and threw him into prison, where the king's prisoners were held, and there he remained. But the Lord was with Joseph in prison and showed him his faithful love, and the Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that happened in the prison. The warden had no more worries because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him and caused everything he did to succeed. So despite the wicked plotting of our enemies, the Lord can take everything we do, no matter where we are, and help us rise to the top and to be better people because of what we go through. Joseph is growing very strong in God's favor and love, and he's learning about God's faithfulness here because of all the situations he's been through, and the crying out that he does to the Lord and the comfort that he gets from everything succeeding as whatever he's put his hand to so far. Well, okay. It's been tough. I mean, he got sold into slavery. That is not by his own brothers who hated him because of his creepy dreams that he told them about, and I'm sure that the dreams had such an impact he just couldn't, not tell them. They creeped him out. They made him, they had that feeling of visionary, I'm sure. So they sold him. And he became a slave, and he traveled for however long it took until he got to, to Egypt, to the place where he was sold. Potiphar bought him, and he's doing a great job in Potiphar's house. Satan gets a hold of this lady, and she tries to ruin everything, but despite all the things going around, God is using this for Joseph's best. God has a plan. God knows what's going to happen. And he has a beautiful road laid out for you. And you just go along it with him. And the key is to have him there with you. And then everything's going to turn out for good in the end. And the ultimate end is, obviously, we want to be spending eternity with our Heavenly Father and have that family fellowship for the rest of time, which will be no more. So I just pray that you'll look at these people and the things that they've gone through, the things that they do to themselves, the things that, others do to them. Poor Joseph. He's been pretty abused. And yet he's going to stand tall and do what God asked him to do. And in the end, he's going to bring through a beautiful victory in God's name. So just know that that's what God has in store for each one of us throughout our lives over and over again. He's going to bring you that victory, small, large, and you're going to just know if you're walking with him, you're going to know that he's directing your path.